What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 award winner, given out in the area of innovation by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And I am also the co-host of monthly conversations for fathers that are sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. Yes, I'm in Toronto, or the 416, as they like to call it, and Dove Men Care. So those are the two organizations. This is not a new friend, but this is probably definitely one of the top supporters of the Dr. Vibe Show. And I hope I'm one of her top supporters on what she does. But I always hail her out when she's live, when she's digital, and even times when she's not around, I hail her up. Dr. Tachi, the host of Mediascope, the livest conversation about media, tech, and pop culture. And I always make sure I get it right, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesdays on IG Live, and then 6 p.m. This is the big test, if I get all the platforms right.
Yes.
Periscope, Facebook Live, WJMS Radio, and LinkedIn. Did I forget anything else?
No, you got everything. Soon to be YouTube as well, but you got everything.
I passed the test. Voila. Dr. Tachi is here, and she hasn't been on for a number of months. That tells you how busy she is.
Yeah.
With Mediascope, and also her and Curtis, her producer. Do you do the Thursday thing still? I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Well, okay. There's a reason we haven't done the Thursday thing in a couple of weeks. Curtis and I got hired by Florida Memorial University to do their live streams. So we've been doing their town halls on COVID-19 every Thursday.
My God.
So there's no time on Thursdays for a while to do it. So, but we'll be back.
Well, one of the persons we mutually admire is Mario Armstrong, and when things like that happen, him and his wife go, "Yes,
yeah."
So that's how did that happen?
The thing is, you never know who is watching what you're doing. And there's somebody that I know who, watches Mediascope all the time. And they produced a live stream, but they didn't have somebody professional helping them the first time. And they were like, we need somebody professional. She approached us and we ended up, they liked what we did. And it's been going phenomenally well. Very important conversations every Thursday at 7 p.m. on the Florida Memorial University Facebook and YouTube page. Live.
Wow. That I'm glad you shared that, because we can incorporate that into our conversation tonight.
Okay.
There are many media platform and content creator that sort of either been shut down or have reduced their activity, where individuals like yourself and Curtis Brooks, who's your online ventures like digital stuff, have raised your bar. And I've been blessed to raise my bar during this time.
Absolutely. If you don't mind, I'd love to speak to that.
No. Well, let's before we go anything further, people, we'll just say that we're talking about the state of media during and after COVID-19. Now, let's go for it. If you don't know who Dr. Tachi is, go to my website or go to her Twitter handle. You'll see all the stuff she has done, she is doing, and will be doing. Okay, go for it, Dr. Tachi. Make it happen.
So it's very interesting that you said that, because this whole pandemic has really separated the media knows from the media know-nots. And
okay.
Well, I can only tell the truth. I have a sorority sister who will tell the truth, and then she'll say, "I'm only telling you what God loves and the truth." So, so I'm only telling you what God loves, the truth.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to watch the evolution and the metamorphosis of linear media in this digital space. Nobody was prepared for the digital space. Nobody, of course, except for people like you and Kente and me and Mario and the Biz Chicks. I could go on and on. But the people who are already in this digital space and realized the power of live streaming were the ones that were going to be okay. And I incidentally, the reason I'm so busy now, busier than what I normally am, is because I understand this space and I know what the hell to do with live stream and social media. And so people before before, they would poop, keep poo-pooing it. And now they have to do it. People come on with do-rags and they don't know what to do. Their lighting is terrible. The sound is muddled. And that's because there's such a division of labor in traditional linear media. There's a camera person, there's a sound person, there's a person who deals with sets, there's a makeup person, there's the talent, there's the producer, there's the director, and nobody knows how to do everything. Now, I believe in a division of labor because I think it makes a production run smoothly. However, you don't always have that choice. And there are a lot of people, production people like ourselves, that don't have the money to have that division of labor. As such, you take on those tasks yourself. And it was obvious that we all had been doing this for a while and taken it seriously and understood the power of what live was, whereas those who put live stream to the side and kept recycling their same tired news broadcasts on Periscope, Facebook Live, etc., and had no interaction with the audience. That's what I mean. It separated the media knows from the media know nots.
I knew you were going to get that out. You're on fire with it. And I'm going to also chime in to that. And the comments already here, Kinte is saying, everyone's a podcaster now. Okay, go. I know you have something to say about that. Say it, or I'll say it.
The gentrification of the media. Yes, it is gentrification. The gentrification of the digital media space. People cannot like me for what I'm saying or whatever, but Dr. Vibe, you know me, I've never cared. I don't give two damns what people think. It's true, because what happened is there were those of us that did not have access to traditional media, didn't have funding, didn't have sponsorship. Nobody wants to take a chance on us because the industry likes to work with people they know. And so we were the grassroots and progenitors of this space, of podcasting, of live streaming, of video, social video, of video like YouTube. We were the ones that built those platforms. So it's very interesting now that the industry, who was so reliant on linear television, on terrestrial radio, on all of those types of platforms, on print, right, on regular print, although not as much anymore, but on regular print like newspapers and magazines, when they could no longer congregate to do all these things, guess what? We had already been used to doing all of this stuff. So then people started to jump on the bandwagon. And this started happening before in podcasting and I started noticing a lot of this happening with, for example, the purchase of Gimlet Media and Anchor by Spotify.
Yes.
When that started to happen, that lets you know they were interested in podcasting, but not interested in us podcasting. They wanted to bring the celebrities. They wanted to bring the influencers to start to congregate the space. What else is that but gentrification?
Wow. Great way of putting it. I want to ask, okay. I want to get something clear with everybody that's watching this live or on replay. What we're doing right now is not a podcast.
It is not.
Okay. It just bothers me how people do something like this. Oh, go and watch my podcast.
Yeah. And it's funny with, I've had people that are in the media space, but not on the tech end of it. They're like talent. And they'll tell me, talking about Mediascope, I really enjoyed your podcast. I said, well, did you watch Mediascope? Or are you talking about you listened to TV channeling? So there's also this muddling and this confusion as to what the terms mean for some people, for these new people entering the space. And I'm not expecting people to sit and study and understand every little thing. No, but, I expect people to respect that there is an art to this, that there is work involved in it, and you can't just jump in, because what I'm waiting to see is how many of these people who now have jumped into this space stay in this space when they decide they can open Hollywood back again, or when they decide the stations can open and with minimal social distancing. How many people are still going to continue to do their nightly things via, Periscope, Facebook Live, or whatever? How many people are still going to interact with the fans that they have cultivated here? I'm waiting.
well, it's interesting. I'm already beginning to notice a little bit of a drop off, especially I think the biggest platform people have been jumping on is IG Live.
I mean, if we can, I can't. But let me preface all of this. Well, it's not really a preface because I've already said it. But let me interject with the fact that I am not a hater on anybody's game, even if you're a gentrifier in this space. I am not hating on you because I love the fact that these platforms are here for use, that you can bypass. And let's be real, you are only as good as your last gig when you're in the entertainment industry. So everybody's trying to build a strong presence. I'm not hating on you for that. I just want you all not to think, A, that it's so easy, and B, that there was nobody in this space before you got here. We were all here. I'm sorry. Continue.
No problem. It's okay. Kinte saying Erica Badu versus Jill Scott.
Oh my gosh.
And what about Teddy Riley and Babyface?
Yes, absolutely. That was the start of it, but they had 1 billion impressions. Jill
How
Scott,
many?
1 billion with a B. The Jill Scott and Erica Badu versus garnered 1 billion impressions. 1 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
wow.
It's a phenomenon, and it was wonderful. Like, I watched the first one, and of course, I loved it, but there was something special about the Jill Scott and Erica Badu pairing that was it was positivity. It was something that we needed because, again, this comes culturally at a time when we need this type of thing. Not only do we have COVID-19, but we have all these horrific things happening to people of color, in particular, Black people. We needed to have that positivity and the music that we were used to. So it was therapeutic as well.
Well, interesting. Of course, Kinte's being Kinte, saying next should be Snoop Dogg versus Kirk Franklin.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
But you know what? That would get a lot of views.
It really would. It really would.
Kinte, as much as we chuckle, that would get a lot of views.
Yeah,
because you're bringing in the Black Christian community and the hip, like, oh my gosh, there's a good idea there. Maybe you should tell the platform and they can give you some royalties on that one.
You won't get royalties. Forget it. Anyway.
But as much as the nice thing is, though, and it's interesting because you notice that when popular things come up like that on IG Live, you don't see the 1 hour time limit ever hit.
No. Okay, so that's the thing, because they're not regular people. We are chopped liver on all of these platforms. You talk for an hour and then get off, and you can restart it if you like, but all you get, my dear, is an hour. One thing that they do when you're going to do something like that, first of all, you're bringing notoriety to their platform. At any given time, I know at the highest, they had the high 700,000 watching. At once, at any given time. So when you're bringing that type of audience to your platform, that's huge. That's major. They're going to bend to your will. So all they had to do was, have that conversation with IG, with Facebook, and say, look, this is why, this is who we are. This is what we do. Because I can guarantee you, very few of the people at Facebook probably know, who all these people are. I already know. Tunnel vision. So, but that's another conversation about the power of the melanated dollar. Mm-hmm. Just saying. So, I think that what they did is actually have that conversation with them and let them know. They made sure this time that the platform could handle all the barrage of people that were going to be, joining and leaving and coming. They made sure that was steady, and they made sure that they lengthened the time for them, that they were able to have as much time as they possibly could. 3 hours. 3 hours of goodness, but 3 hours.
So if you're Erica Badu and Jill Scott, do you not think you should say, we've got a good thing going here. Can't we pitch this to some sort of platform where we get a bunch of money for this?
Let me interject. Here lies BaduWorld.com. If you don't know, Erica Badu had an after party on her platform. She has a
Okay.
website and it's called BaduWorld.com. This was free and it was amazing. There were 5 women DJs. She has a female DJ collective. So she
Oh,
performed. She had the DJs perform, and they're all over the place, like San Francisco, New York. And so this was all on her platform, Badu World Live. So BaduWorld.com, Badu World
right,
Market. So
right.
BaduWorldMarket.com. And so they actually talked about this in was it the New York Times? There's an article, no, Forbes, I believe. There's an article about her building her own platform because, she said she wants that whole dollar rather than doing something for somebody else like IG Live or
Mhm.
whatever and only getting like 30 cents on the dollar or whatever for monetization. She wants that whole dollar. So she charges like $2 or $3 for her live concerts on BaduWorldMarket.com. So she already has her own platform where she's doing this. So there's more
Nice.
to come. And I'm so proud of her for doing that. That's what needs to happen. There needs to be more of us. At the end of the day, remember, all of us in this live streaming space, we've always said it's not about the platform, it's about the people. And if you have a following, it doesn't matter if you bypass any of the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok. If you have your own and you have a following, they will come and they will pay.
Mm, yes, absolutely. So let's expand it a bit. What have your observations been over the last 2 months of media? We did talk about how everyone seems to be doing something on, especially IG Live now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I'll tell you, I don't do the only stuff I do on IG Live is when I'm promoting a conversation
Mm.
because for me, for what I do, IG Live is not suited for it.
Well, exactly. I mean, you could do some things on it. Like, again, I don't do my show. I do the pre-show on IG Live, right?
Yes,
As opposed to
yes,
the full show, just because of the nature of what it is. And I think the teaser works well as opposed to doing a full hour show on IG Live.
right. Right. For content creators like ourselves, we two things are really important. And correct me if I'm wrong. Multiple platforms to stream,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and also for me anyways, being able to repurpose the content. And it's not to me that easy to do on for IG Live. I know they've released a apps and things to do it like that, but I still cannot save anything I do IG Live on my iPad 2 tablet.
Mm.
Like the last I had the privilege of having a conversation finally after 5 years with Mario Armstrong.
Yeah, amazing guy.
Yeah, and it went on for an hour. I couldn't save it on my own tablet. Thank goodness there are people in my community that was able to give me a saved copy. But what are you seeing the general media landscape in the last 2 months? Like what's been going on other than people jumping on individuals? What are you seeing as a macro of the media industry over the last 2 months?
A realization that they're going to have to change whether they want to or not. Also, this longing to get back to business as usual. I submit there's never going to be a business as usual. Again, this is it sounds trite and cliche, but this is a new normal. And all industries are going to have to get used to this as a phenomenon. Now, again, not the dying, not any of that, but I mean in terms of the change of business models. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to notice people discovered I like to have, and again, I will use the Erica Badu and Jill Scott thing as a thing. I like being able to attend a concert with 700,000 people and have conversations and possibly be heard. I like being paid attention to. And so I think that the media industries are noticing this. They've known, but they always thought, okay, so let's be absolutely clear. The overwhelming majority of money still goes to linear television. So the
Yep.
CBS's, the ABCs, the Foxes, etc., still goes to linear television. The overwhelming majority of the money in advertising, right, and sponsorships. And as such, people still have this TV first mentality because media is paid for through sponsorships and advertising. There's no other way. It's an antiquated model from the 1800s, from the days of yellow journalism, but that's what happens, and that's the way it happens. there hasn't been significant change really. So until someone
Mm-hmm.
comes up with a more fruitful model in terms of monetizing media, that's what it's going to be.
Absolutely. Just jumping on the Facebook Live side, and seems like you have another new fan, Sophia
Sophia
Jacob,
Jacobs,
who's
hello.
she's based out of Ottawa.
Oh,
I know. Yes, I know Sophia. She's been making some really good comments, and I know you're responding to one or two. She says, first of all, and thank goodness Erica Badu has her own streaming
yes.
service. She says her own streaming service. She put in capitals. Erica only charged $1 for one of her concerts. Then the second was only $2, and the next one will be $3. Word. And then she's saying, if you are an influencer, especially now, you can have an epic streaming success with one IG live stream. Check Puffy and DJ Nice, who can call IG and tell them to not cut off the live and allow free streaming and widening of the bandwidth.
That is a very poignant thing to say. Absolutely. I think that the curve here and the thing that I'm watching is what this means for the average creator, what all of this shape, because it's well and good and great, but how, again, going back to the gentrification of the space, if this does not allow the creators who actually made these platforms, which we did, it wasn't famous people or celebrities per se. We're the ones that made the platform, and then celebrities jumped on board onto these things. And then influencers in their own right became celebrity, like Instagram famous, etc., TikTok famous. But, what does this mean for the average person? Someone like you, Dr. Vibe, who has an amazing show. Your show is better than much of the rubbish I see on television that is talk related.
And right back at what you do also.
But, nobody seems to pick up on these things, right? And that's not a hate thing. Good for you, what you do. But, we've actually studied and understand and know, and we do it for the love of whatever it is. The money is nice, obviously, if it comes, but we do it for the love of the conversation, the love of technology, the love of media. And I'm not saying they don't, but it's clear we do because we're not getting paid like they are.
Sure. No, absolutely true. And I think that one of the areas to see what happens in media is news coverage. Because look at all the reporters now doing news from their home, doing commentary of news. Are we going to see them back in the studio in the future? They don't need to be there.
They don't need to be there, but unless the paradigm shifts towards, okay, it's totally fine for you not to be in studio, they're going to want people to come back, right? Because this also means, if you think about it, this, in my mind, I'm like, you don't all have to ever go back again. Just make sure you have a good, set and all of that. That's true. But there are two things or a couple of things. There are other people that are employed by these outfits that may be affected by them not going back. And I think that is the push to eventually and safely reopen the way that they know. But I mean, it's going to be you've got some people that are like, I could stay home and do it. I'm like, I don't have to fight Midtown Manhattan traffic. I like this. Ask the crew from Good Morning America. I'm sure they are in love with that. I mean, they're able to get to work easily now, but when things go back a little bit to what they were, it's going to be harder. So I'm watching the news industries too to see how they're still transitioning. Whether or not you believe it, they're still learning. They're still, like Luke said, they're still learning how to do these things. They're still understanding lighting. They're still understanding all these things, and I don't think you can't go back to the normal, we'll just slap stuff up on TV. People want to be listened to and talked to. You've got to have interactivity in whatever you do. This has shown it.
So there's the area of news content creation, which is continuous, and they love what's going on with COVID-19 because they're having a cornucopia just picking stuff and putting it on. But what about look at films and TV series have all had to halt production for 2 months.
Right. Well, this is what I'm saying.
That's
Sorry.
yeah. No, go. I'm just going like, what kind of effect does it have on production run schedules? Like, for example, probably the big movie that everyone's looking for in the Black community next year is Black Panther, right?
Right.
That will that be delayed? Other movies that haven't started, they're going to get pushed back. All the different effects.
The reality is yes. In the minds of these producers, no. They're going to try and have things maybe on a slightly delayed schedule. But okay, let's look at the industry, right? Beyond just okay, it's going to take another month before we wrap, or another 2 or 3 months before we're able to wrap. That also affects the level and types of people you can get as as sponsors, right? That also affects the fact that okay, movie theaters are not open. So if you need your theater to run at least 1 week in a theater in LA, Atlanta, New York, and there's a Seattle and a couple of others, if they're not open, what is my rush to get this film there? Because
Yeah.
again, it needs to run in order to qualify for example, Oscar consideration, for awards consideration. One of the criteria, especially for the Oscars, is that it has to run in a theater. It was in a theater in LA, right? Now, because of COVID-19, they've opened up to other cities like New York, Atlanta, Seattle, etc. And they now are allowing streaming films to have Oscar consideration just for this year.
Okay.
Just for this year.
Okay.
You know they're hot as fish grease about that, but just for this year.
Just catching up with people who jump in. Long time no see, Mr. Wake Up Better.
Hey, Wake Up Better.
Good to see you. Long time. It has been a minute since we've kept you on here, but we hope you're keeping safe. Thanks for asking on our end. Sophia Jacobs is saying, best time to get your IG platform nowadays is when the influencers are on because they have full reign. You can piggyback on their stuff since they will be over the 1 hour time limit. They have to widen their whole platform. Well, I think it's a good time to get on the IG platform, but there's so many people on the IG platform right now.
They're not going to stay.
How are you going? You got to make your stuff stand out.
Here's the thing. When it comes to social media, remember, you have to have formed your tribe before this whole COVID thing. If you already have your tribe and you already have those faithful that follow you and interact with you and you interact with them, remember, social media is interactive. It's not just about them commenting and liking your stuff. You have to reciprocate. So if you already have that, you won't have an issue continuing to keep people engaged with your content as long as you continue to produce stellar content. But to jump on the backs of everybody who's doing this now, particularly if you haven't been doing it, yeah, you may get some traction, but the space is so saturated that it's going to be difficult to get things noticed. That's why it's like, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So all these people jumping on now, they're getting ready. Those of us we're already there, we stay ready.
Just some shout outs too on the Facebook platform. Dr. Tachi regards this lady as one of the two biggest troublemakers around.
Yeah. Is this Natalie?
Of course.
Natalie, what's up?
And on the Periscope platform, Sir Exile, I have not seen you in a long time.
Hey, what's up, Jose?
Yeah, so good. And thank you for sharing it out on Periscope. Thank you so much. Let me ask, during this COVID-19 time, have your media consumption habits changed at all?
A bit. Maybe because, the more time thing is a myth. Anybody who thinks I have more time, it's mythical. But I have to consume more. I've always had to consume a lot of media because of the podcast, because of Mediascope, and just because I'm a TV addict together and a media addict. So I've always consumed, but I think that I am very keen and aware when, for example, new things are dropping. And so this is on the entertainment end. On the news end, let me say this. In terms of news coverage, there was a lot of course, COVID-19 is a negative thing, but there was a lot of coverage that could have been better by news media. I don't know how you can, really spin a whole lot of the COVID-19 stories to be as, very, very positive. But then you're starting to see a little bit of a switch now from the number of deaths and the doom and gloom of COVID-19 to some of the bright spots and some of the positive things that are coming about as a result of this. It's not people wearing masks on Fort Lauderdale Beach, but I digress. But I'm telling you, there's some selfish people.
won't go there. Let us also talk about everyone's trying to catch up to Zoom.
Oh. And see, I have to laugh at Facebook because Facebook, you are so cocky, you don't even try and make things even sound different. I don't have a problem with you copy because that's what you do. And everybody saw the success of Zoom and during this time and like, oh, let's create something similar. Truth be told, there have already been similar things, but because everybody has to work from home now, Zoom just was the popular name, right? So Zoom absolutely has had some success, up from the 10 million users that they have. I know that they inflated their number to 300 million, so I don't know what the actual number is of users are now, but I know they're way up from the 10 million that they initially had, way up from that. So Facebook came up with Messenger Rooms. You couldn't even Facebook. You could. What can I say? They didn't even try. At least they made it rhyme and not the exact same word. But come on. So yeah, there's been a lot of that. I think whenever there is an economic opportunity, people are there waiting to copy and waiting to come up with a better version of it. The messaging, the video messaging and the video conferencing is no different. So it's inevitable. It was inevitable.
Nice. And I just Google has, what is theirs called?
Rooms.
Meet. Google Meet.
Oh, Google. I'm sorry. Yes, Google Meet.
Yes.
Google Meet.
Yes.
And Google Meet is actually free. It was a paid application for enterprise. They've now made it free.
I think is it until September? I think you can use the business version of until September. But it's interesting because obviously Zoom came out of the gate. They had some security issues, and then the Googles and the Facebook say, now it's our time to catch. I still think Zoom will, and Microsoft has their version too.
Correct. Microsoft has Teams. Yeah.
Teams.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because as over the last few weeks, I've seen Zoom level up their service offering because I was using it today and they now have an icon where you can get support.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's real time, but it's a message to your support team and also control of your desktop. So I guess they're obviously had to hire people like crazy because everyone was using the platform. And I remember a few weeks ago, I put in something for like a FAQ question.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 300th in line. I went, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Again, that's a prime example of not staying ready, and then they had to get ready. So you never know when, and here's the thing. The reality is to beef up to the level of use that it is to ramp up really quickly, to go from 0 to 100 this quickly, it takes money. So the average company is not going to spend money on what they think. The average American company is not going to spend money on what they think is going to happen down the line. They're concerned about today, and then what happens is something like this happens and they're not ready. We as a culture in the US, I can only speak to, here, we are reactive as opposed to proactive, because usually being proactive costs money.
True. Sophia's saying on Facebook Live, love that quote, stay ready so you won't have to be ready. Yes. And then she says, Zoom shares, where can I buy? LOL.
I don't, and they've been, Zoom shares have been like doing this roller coaster thing, right? Initially, they plummeted right after the security concerns, all the Zoom bombing and everything that they had. So, but to be honest, it's that type of thing really could have happened to any platform. It was not end-to-end encrypted. From what I understand, it wasn't because of the difficulty of doing it for live video.
It wasn't end-to-end encrypted. I know that for sure.
Right. It was not, but because of the difficulty of doing that for live video, this is what I've heard. I don't know what the actual thing is. This is what they've said, but the reality is that even though shares dropped, how many people actually stopped using Zoom? Let's tell the truth.
I think probably a small percentage. I do know some. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. I live in Toronto. City of Toronto a few weeks ago said employees can no longer use Zoom.
Right. So you had entities like schools, like companies that said that you can no longer use Zoom. But to be honest, many of these companies also had other enterprise platforms that they could use as well. But as far as individuals and Zoom, it's still popular.
Yeah,
because people know what the name. They know the name Zoom, right? And
yes,
I'm surprised. Go ahead.
It's like it's become a generic name for what we're doing. You want to do a Zoom call?
Zoom call, exactly. Right? But before it used to be Skype call. Let's Skype.
Yes. I want to take it to another area in regards to consumption of media, and give me a few minutes. I'm going to just share a little story here. One of the major concerns I've had over this time period is students' access online of education media, and the just resurfing it never really hid, but there's still a huge digital divide.
Oh, absolutely. And go ahead.
And this is just amplifying it, because you look at in public schools, most public school students have not been in school since middle of March.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going by Toronto example. Middle of March, April, May. Don't know if they're going to go back in June or not. Not sure, but say they don't. Then you have summer holidays, July, August. That's 5 months, including the 2 months off for summer holidays, but 5 months of a lot of students experiencing digital divide.
Yeah.
You work in the education field. Obviously, it's at a university level, but still, that has to be a concern in regards to digital media, etc.
Oh, yes, this is exposing the divide. So even if we were able to cover it up by having the students have access at school, it is, and libraries, that's another thing. Libraries are closed, so students can't go to the library after school and do homework and do, or do these things. So this is really exposed. And so all of these schools, universities, K through 12, have moved everything online. And so there's this whole thing of, okay, well, I couldn't get online before this. What do you want me to do now? So it has really exposed the cracks in our system and the level of inequality that exists. And we're not just talking about, for example, public schools in cities. We're also talking about rural communities.
Yes.
There's a huge divide when it comes to rural communities because these ISPs, internet service providers, really focus a lot of their energy on where the money is going to be made. Where is that? In the cities. So they focus on the big cities, and often the rural areas, the internet connectivity is left to be desired. And so we've seen that with a lot. I just read an article the other day that talked about this. So there's not only is there, a divide when it comes to culture and ethnicity, there's also a divide when it comes to rural versus city. And nobody was prepared for this. And they were, and see, again, we are reactive as opposed to proactive. You should have been laying an infrastructure for the rural communities long ago, but you didn't want to do it because in your mind, it was not profitable. And this is municipalities as well. This is municipalities. They focus often on the wrong things, or they focus on other things, and connectivity is not one thing that they always focus on. So now that this is here, they're all humming and hawing about this type of thing because, obviously people are complaining. Aside from the fact that people are complaining about wanting to reopen, that's another thing, but they're also complaining about this.
Hey, Ryan is in the house. Mr. Ryan, what is up? Hope things are good with you and your son. Fantastic. It's a very interesting time to be a content creator.
Indeed.
It's very, very interesting because there's so much opportunity, but there's so much competition.
Are you asking me to respond to that?
Yes.
There is competition. But again, if you've already built up your tribe, you don't have to worry about other people there is enough for everybody. Let's just say that. The competition comes when you try to put sometimes a dollar amount on it, because it becomes about monetizing for people.
Right.
So that's where that matters to people. And in fact, this is the industry that has taught us to think that way, because they're concerned about eyeballs, right? How many people, that's why they're so concerned about these vanity metrics like the likes, how many followers you have. That doesn't matter if nobody's engaging with you and that's not meaningful engagement that leads to something else. Are they engaging with you? And then when you say, you know what, we're doing a live concert on my website, are they going there? Do you have enough influence to get people to follow you wherever you go? So yeah, there's competition. There's always competition, but is that you're like, okay, there are a whole bunch of people. I don't have 700,000 people watching me at any one time yet. Right? I don't have that. But that to me is not my competition. That's not my competition. So I know who my tribe is, and that's who I cater and tailor my stuff for, right? And then I want other people who are outside of that to be able to enjoy as well. But what I don't do, let me say, like they say here in the South, what I'm not finna do is chase people. What I'm not finna do is chase people all over the earth for eyes and likes and stuff, because I so appreciate the people who follow, who watch, who do all these things, and that's why I go to the ends of the earth for them. But I'm not doing unnatural things and doing things I wouldn't normally do to gain more. No. Okay, that means I don't have 1 million followers. Oh, the hell, well, I'm okay with that.
Well, and I think it's quality of, I think a few things. It's the quality of followers, how much you engage, and this is something just from my friends, how much you engage with them, and consistency and worthwhile content delivery. Because I'll say, I don't got, on all the platforms combined, I don't got 10,000 followers. I don't. But some strange reason, I have the support of Dove Men Care.
And see that shows a company who is concerned about the quality of the conversations you provide because they know that it's quality. So maybe they could go and get some idiot that has a following of 54 million to talk about that. But is it going to have the same impact that you have? No, no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like what Ryan says. Myself is my
Yeah.
competition. Agreed. On the Facebook end, Sir Exile is saying New York City Department of Education has reinstated Zoom for use by students.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
interesting. That's interesting.
You know, when faculty have always used it. Sophia Jacobs is saying test cases Quebec, they have students back. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks, especially in Montreal. Sophia saying celebrity micro influencers, etc. Everyone can hit viral with the right post. Uh,
But
Excellent.
is the goal to be viral? I think the goal is to create meaningful content that resonates with your
Yes.
tribe. Because if if I have, like, sometimes I'll post a video, right? It will get on IG like 200 and something views. That's great for me. That's fantastic. I don't care about having 24,000 views or so, right? In proportion to who I have following me, that's amazing. That is good, right? So I think we have to be careful of measuring ourselves and our success by somebody else's meter stick.
Actually, and someone joining us on the Periscope, and you know of this lady. She and Jill Jones and Gina Figueroa are on every week on the Dr. Vibe Show, dropping knowledge bombs about social political commentary in America. She goes, yes, quality is always best. Impact and longevity depend on it.
Indeed. Indeed.
That's good stuff, Aisha. And she's a media person too. We got to get you on one of those conversations. I know periodically you've added commentary,
Yes.
but I think we would love to have you on with them. They're like
Oh,
fire.
wow. Tell me
Um,
when. Tell
okay,
me when.
okay, that's
Look, catch
good.
me while
And
the
Luke is saying
quarantine is on.
yes, because I know once it's finished. No, no, you
It
won't
may be
get.
hard.
Well, we usually do our conversations on Saturday
Oh, okay,
evenings.
okay, okay.
So definitely, Luke is saying on the Get Vocal, got to buy more Dove Men Care. Well, they will benefit from that. They'll get more money out of it than I will from you, Luke. So you do whatever you want, but I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support big time. Let's see if there's anything else. You are word Dr. Vibe. You are 10 from long time. Thank you, Sophia. I appreciate that. That is much appreciated, not taken for granted. What do you see? What do you think is going to happen? Well, no, actually, here's another thing. What are the thoughts of all these festivals now going online?
Oh,
Cannes Film
yeah,
Festival, Toronto International Film
yeah.
Festival. Like there's a documentary festival in Toronto called Hot Docs. All that's going
Hmm.
online. What are your thoughts? Is this a one-time thing, do you think, or do you think it will be a change in their programming in the future?
I think it's all based on the response that they get and how many people that they have that watch. I think much of this is going to be based on the response. So if you
Yeah.
ask me, I think they should continue to do that. If not the whole festival program, there certainly should be a program of shorts, a program, maybe one feature that they do online for every festival, because that pulls in people. I can't go to Sundance every year. I can't go to
No,
Telluride every year. I still have yet to be to
no.
Toronto, and my mother lives only an hour and a half away from there. So
You got to get up here, you know.
yeah, it's a little difficult sometimes.
I know. Yes, no problem. But we would love. I am looking for the day that you and I would do something like I would love to have a Media Scope special edition from TIFF.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That I would, and you know what? I have a way that could potentially happen because I'm blessed enough that my family is friends with Cameron Bailey's family, who is the head of TIFF.
Oh, see, that's amazing. So we're going to make that happen.
Yeah, I actually interviewed Cameron about 6-7 years ago. My dad and his father, who passed away a few years ago, they knew each other for 25
Wow.
years.
See, small world.
So, I'm speaking that you can come up here one year, and certainly they actually, and this is, they actually do it almost every year. They have a special screenings of films from Africa.
And see, I would be all over that. I
Yes.
am. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, and in the past I didn't do it the last few years. I'd get an interview with the lady or the gentleman that was in programming all those films, and give you a great interview, and we give you passes for all the films. They allowed me to review all the films.
Okay, well, I'm down to do
And
that.
it'll happen one day.
It will
It'll
happen.
happen one day. It will happen. But let's get back to the whole world of festivals. Yeah. So you're feeling that there could be an opportunity that we may see a trend outside of this year where festivals may have at least some of their programming now going
depending
online.
On the response. I think so. I also think that film people are very traditional. They don't like all this newfangled new media stuff. They want to sit in a theater and they want to watch and they want to do the parties, and they are very traditional and frankly are not happy that they've had to, I'm sure, have had to go to online. It's a necessity. But if they had a choice, they would not have gone online. Otherwise, they would have done this long ago. We've had the capacity to do this type of thing for a long time. So although there were some festivals that have done some programs online, we find more people will do, I'm pointing at the TV, but we'll find more people will do special things, like, for example, on a certain channel, like IFC channel or whatever, they'll do a program of shorts or something like that. They're more likely to push towards linear TV than they are the quote new media space. So there's pushback to these. So that's why I said, I was joking, but I'm really not, about people griping about streaming movies being able to qualify for Oscars. They don't like that at all. They hate it. That's why every time there's the whole Netflix grumbling, they don't like change. They like things traditional. And hence, I really think that the festivals really like the way things are. Now, here's the thing. I enjoy a good film festival. I like going to festivals, yes, going to all of the associated events, seeing the films and just meeting people. I think that is the most amazing thing ever. There's no other experience like going to a festival, especially if you go to one of the larger ones. Like when I went to Sundance, it's been like, 10 years ago, I went to Sundance. So, wow. Yeah, 2010. But it was the most amazing experience ever. I don't know what possessed me to go into a cold place in January to drive on the side of a mountain. I was like, I'm not doing this again. But it was an amazing experience. So there's something that the online experience cannot touch with that. However, I'm going to point again to the Erykah Badu versus Jill Scott thing. That was a large scale event that drew, had 1 billion impressions. People were communicating. People were talking. I think that you can take that and really turn the festival experience into something else.
Sure.
Can you imagine doing verses from, live from Telluride, live from TIFF, live from, those types of things, but have it virtual or digital? Come on. It's doable. I don't know how amenable the industry is to it, though.
Well, Timberland and Swiss Beats, you got something hot there. Create your own program and monetize it, man. Monetize it. Big time. Comments coming in like crazy. So I'm going to be like a two-headed person here. Here on Facebook, Jose says, looking forward to that Toronto Media Scope special. Sophia saying TIFF would be wonderful with you both. And Sophia says that would be awesome if they had a virtual red carpet at TIFF. Good idea. And it's actually interesting because something like that was done with the most recent NFL draft. They sort of had a virtual red carpet for their draft. So that's a good idea, Sophia. That's a good idea.
Absolutely.
You Foresight on Periscope says, much love and respect. Success is measured in many ways, and there are many ways to be successful. He also says, I think there will be a uh, newfound respect for live streaming like never before. And then Aisha says, now that the proverbial cat is out of the bag, are we going to adjust to a predominantly online economy? Mm.
That is a thought.
That is a very interesting question.
It is, because if you look at who controls things now, that is a determinant of the way your economy goes, whether or not you buy into the digital economy. A good 75% of these people didn't want this to happen. Nobody wanted COVID-19. But in terms of this working from home, a lot of people did not want that. Workers wanted, they were like, hell yeah, let me stay home, no problem. But in terms of companies, I think we still have old, antiquated, ancient ways of governance in the workplace. And that involves you being there and right under my thumb so I can look over your shoulder and see what you're doing and tell you how wrong you are or what a nice job you're doing. But
Mm.
I think that the rise of digital culture in the workplace really can be a healthier way to work. I think
Mm.
so. Away from the drama and the nonsense. I mean, the drama and the nonsense is still there virtually, but you can separate yourself from it.
Sure.
Although, I'm sorry.
No, I just want to shout out
Yeah.
Shadow 3413, which is, I think, our friend Bobby Shadow
Bobby, what's up,
is
Bobby?
shouting out. I've been online. Hope you're all well. We have been, Bobby, and I hope you and your son are fine. Thank you for your continuous support. I interrupted you, Dr. Tachi, on the thought. My apologies.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Um, oh, I was going to say that although many people like the workplace because for them that's social,
Mm-hmm.
having work colleagues is a social thing. And also, okay, I'm just going to be real here. Most people have not been around their children this much in years, and it's driving them batty. Work for some is one way to get, yeah, you've got work to do, but at least you get some
Escape.
escape. Right.
And some people say, get out of responsibility. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Well, and so I think this is why so many more parents have now. That respect for teachers is not going to translate to any raise in pay. I already know
No.
these people. It's not going to make any difference. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how different we're going to come out on the other side of this. I suspect not very, because I'm already seeing same old business as usual nonsense. So I suspect not very. But I know parents have huge respect for teachers because they know they can't do what those teachers do.
Exactly. And not only that, they can't do it one on one. Look at teachers who have to do it with multiple people. Right?
Exactly.
They have enough of a challenge
Exactly.
one on one. They don't realize that
Exactly.
average primary school classroom is 20 plus students. There's
Exactly.
one teacher in there. You do university stuff. What's your average class size?
Well, I teach someplace where there's no more than 30, but I've taught when I taught at Morgan State University, I've had like a lecture hall that had like 60 or 70. So,
It's crazy. Aisha K. Stagger says one of the nice things that if people don't work from home, office politics go away.
yeah, they're there, but you don't have to deal with it. You could just
Exactly.
close your laptop and eat your Grey Poupon sandwich and go about your business. So that's true.
Very true. I have a question for you too. I know you have done. I don't know if you're doing right now. How has this media change affected real estate? And the reason why I'm asking is many, 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 many years ago, I was working with a young lady, second generation real estate agent, who got it, who understood about doing virtual showrooms, virtual walkthroughs of homes, etc. But No one else in our industry got it, especially when it came to older real estate agents. They would not see the light of day. I know you've had some successful ventures working with and assisting real estate agents. Are any more beginning to see any more light because of the COVID and changing the way they share and deliver media to promote their business or services?
Oh yeah, because they don't have a choice. And stuff they don't have a choice. So whereas before, and it's interesting, I still work with realtors. I have clients that are realtors that I do social media for and live streaming for. And I'm a
Oh,
huge, I love shows. I love television.
yes,
So I produce a show for one of my he watches Mediascope all the time. Gary, you hear me shout out
yes,
Gary.
yes,
So
yes.
Gary is one of my clients, and I produce a show for him called Tuesdays with Gary. And what I usually did was go out and shoot it for him, and then edit it and release it each week. But in the light of this, I told him, I was like, Gary, we need to go to live. We need to do Tuesdays with Gary live. And so
Wow.
now every Tuesday we do Tuesday with Gary live, and we
What?
have guests, and yeah, so and it's live streamed. So Gary is very special. He's a maverick when it comes to that. He wants to learn, he wants to understand, and he knows how important video is to real estate. So he understands that. There are some realtors who still, are older, and they still, even if they know, the thing is, and this is with anybody, you have to invest in it. It's not going to be free. You can't
Yes.
get it for $2. Did you all hear me? You cannot get it for $2. You have to pay for it. Just
Yep.
like you want to be paid for your transactions, so do those of us who do this. And
Yeah.
so I think there's a thing of not understanding the value. And so putting money into that, some are a little leery of. And so there are a lot that are behind the curve. Realtors do not use social media and live streaming and video the way they could. They're usually the last ones to jump on it. So yeah, but there have been a lot of people, that are jumping on the trend, realizing that you've got to do video showing. So one of the first things I did with the realtors I have as clients, I was like, well, this is not going to stop the show. We need to do virtual showings. We need to do virtual open houses. So, and not just take your phone and here I am. We're going to live stream it. You're going to have lower thirds. We're going to put up the pictures so it's a show. It
It's a
is
production.
it's a production. It is an
Production.
actual show. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
so that's the
Yes.
difference between, and not that I'm selling myself, but in a way I am, but that's the difference between what I
No, but
do with realtors and those who are just thinking that just getting on Facebook Live is enough. Yeah, maybe, but what's going to make you stand out?
I fully agree with you. Like I now approach, even when I'm doing something like this with a person who's brand new, I'd say this is a production. This is a production thing. And I think for me, that's a way of keeping above the masses, that I'm focused on doing a production, not just come on, do like, uh, as I said, outside of Mary Armstrong, I wouldn't do IG Live, but that's his preferred platform. He has a lot more clout, a lot more influence than I do. So I'm going to follow his tune.
Mm.
But I would not usually do something like this on IG Live. And everyone has their own preference, but it's just not professional. I like a production. IG Live is not a production to me.
No, it's not. It wasn't meant for that initially,
Exactly.
but they are. I'm positive that all this has shown them they need to kind of start to move in that direction. So
Yes.
with limited tools and things, I'm predicting soon we're going to be able to do some more things. I'm looking at them opening up their API, not necessarily for everyone, but kind of like the same thing with the LinkedIn where you kind of have to apply and
Yep.
that type of thing. So I'm predicting that's going to happen. I don't know what shape or form it's going to take, but we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I always try to get this person's name right, and they only usually jump on when you're on.
Oh.
They only jump on my Periscope. Jawa Rubigan, Jawa Ru Gambian. That's what I saw.
Jawaru Gambian, yeah.
Yes, there you go. You said it better than myself.
Hey.
And very nice for jumping in and inviting your 4,268 followers. Thank you
Wow.
so much for doing
What's
that.
up? Thanks for being here.
That is fantastic. You know what's actually interesting too? I've seen it's still somewhat related to media, but how this situation has affected event planners.
Well, it is. It's
I can share a story, but you can go ahead.
yeah. No, go ahead and share the story, and then I'll give my comments.
Well, yeah, I was having a conversation with a member of my community, and we were talking about it. And he said, "Dr. Vibe, do you know anyone who's event planner?" I say, "Yeah, I know," and they're hurting right now because all the events they had scheduled, like even from your person who does events to big conferences, are just now they're blown up. Well, they're doing it online, but they're not the same. And he showed me the software that can actually, what's the word, mimic? I guess mimic or copy an actual conference. And on the layout on your screen, there's actually tables and seats.
Yeah.
And people can chat with each other who are sitting at the table. You can reach out to someone who's sitting at another table. And actually shows you the podium and like the speaking area at the front. So it simulates. That's the word I was looking for. Simulates an actual conference software. And
Absolutely.
I thought that was brilliant. So I think one of the great things with media right now, there are those who are going to get to new levels.
Yes.
During this time. And there are going to be other people that are either going to stay the same or fall behind.
Well, and that's always been the way it is. I think when you're an event planner, again, your bread and butter is events. And the problem with event planners is they consistently focus on live events. I know very few who also include virtual events. Virtual events are usually put on by kind of like people like us that understand the space. But if you had, go ahead.
That's why you got to hire people like Dr. Tachi to make it happen, or myself to make it, because we have knowledge of this space. You have knowledge of your space. Married together, we create superstar.
And you should have been. What do I always say? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You don't know what's going to happen. But had they had this part of their business together, where it's like the virtual things together, do you know what bank you could have made helping these companies that needed to take their in-person events virtual? But you're scrambling like the Tin Man because you don't know what to do. I mean, I really cannot help people who don't have forward thinking. I can't help you. I can't help you because you don't know what is going to happen. You need to, you know how they always say future proof and recession proof yourself? You need to think about that. You need to future proof. If something happens where we cannot do this, how am I going to maintain my existence? How am I going to do that? And, it's not about trying to learn while this is happening, because what happened is all of this happened so quickly that people I'm telling you, people until the last day were still going to the gym, and I had quit going to the gym for a while. I'm like, because that's how I caught bronchitis at the gym one time. So I said, I had caught I had never had it before, and I knew it was the gym because there's so many people and whatever. And I said, I already know it's going to be an incubator for mess, so I'm not going. So I have not been. Of course, they closed everything was it March? But I stopped going in February as soon as I heard all of this was happening.
Wow.
But
no, I think that's another thing too. And people doing virtual classes, like they become new content creators, and I'm telling them, don't stop doing it.
No, don't
stop doing it, because a lot of people are still going to be working from home. B, there are people who won't have a job to go back to.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. And again, if you're enjoying it and you're enjoying creating the content, hey, maybe you can create a side hustle.
You have to think like that. And the reality is that nothing is constant. We're constantly in flux and things are always changing. So you have to be ahead of the next curve. You've got to.
Right.
It's compulsory. It's important if you want to continue a good existence. And so all these, it's terrible, all of these things. But again, okay, I say the same thing with restaurants. Now, I was watching somebody's live stream. He does live streams. I can't remember his name, but he does live streams almost every day on LinkedIn Live. And they talk about social media and they talked about, marketing and other things. And one of his guests said something that was really on point. The fact that the restaurants, a lot of restaurants are having a tough time and it's terrible. And rightfully so. A lot of people don't feel comfortable ordering now, and you cannot blame people for that.
Yes.
As many precautions as you take, and you love, I just rode by today, by the beach, and one of my favorite restaurants is closed now. I said, oh my gosh, this really hit them. And so you feel badly, but you also can't blame people for not wanting to have all this outside packaging and stuff, and then you can't blame people. So one thing he said is, a lot of restaurants are having a tough time, but part of this is because they have not done a good job of keeping in touch with the customers that keep them in business.
True. Didn't ask them, didn't ask them what they, and it's, again, finding out what your community is, getting into their phones, right? Like, again, referencing Mario Armstrong, he said something really prolific. Well, he always says prolific stuff, but he said last week or 2 weeks ago, too many people think revenue is money. Revenue is also data.
Oh my gosh. That's worth more than money. That's worth more than money.
Yes. So if you're a content creator, don't think money first, think data first.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Think about the data. Think about the information that you're getting from your clientele, the real estate agents. Like Dr. Tachi, I'm sure she's always listening to what they're saying, what they're needing, etc. She has converted that into ching-ching.
Let me tell you, I have become so proficient in real estate and real estate lingo now. And I'm not a realtor, but I have really, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the whole real estate world, to the point where, I'm part of, Gary Lanham's team now and stuff. And they were all like, you need to go get your real estate license. I was like, that's not my ministry, but, but I enjoy it and I love it. And you never know.
Well, welcome back, Luke. Thank you very much. I got to catch up for you. Foresight is laying down some thought process down on YouTube. So let me read. He's saying, I think there'll be more. You Foresight for YouTube saying, I think there will be more emphasis on online connections and streaming for businesses who may not have a thought of this being viable before. I agree, but the thing is, are they willing to invest time and money?
No.
Okay.
No, they're not. And we all know this because we're in the space, and people are griping about what it is that we all charge for these types of things, because they still don't realize the importance. Now they're starting to see, but the thought in many heads is, oh, well, we got to open back up, because when things go back to normal, I'm telling you, a lot of them are going to abandon this life, and then something will happen again. And they'll be scrambling again to do this. They just want things the way they were. We are very nostalgic for the way things were. We don't like change. The reality is this was always going to happen. This pivot towards the digital was always going to happen. It just happened sooner than what they wanted.
Yes. Yep, it was accelerated. He also says change is not always good, but sometimes it is often necessary for new innovators to be born. I think we can have a mix of both. Not everyone will be able to make it to a festival or an event. Agreed.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm actually going to stop right there. There's also going to be the cost factor, and not only the cost factor to put it on, but the cost factor of people who may think of going. Because let's put it this way, and again, it's indirectly related, but the airline industry, if you took a flight in the past, you're not going to be paying the same price for it in the future. You're going to be paying more. So less people are going to have the time and especially the disposable income to go to these festivals.
And let's think about it. We're looking at a time now where people are leery of being around each other. I don't know that I want
Yes.
to go to an NAB that has 100,000 participants from all over the world there. I have to fly to get there. I have to walk through the halls. I don't know that I want to do that. By the way, the virtual NAB show is coming up. So
Yes. Yes. What's the cost?
free.
What?
Free.
I saw you talking about it last week on Mediascope, and I was gonna put in a message. I said I'll ask her offline. It's
Go
free.
to nabshow.com and register, and you can go to the sessions for free. There are trainings for free. They're even doing a virtual market floor. So all the usual suspects that were there showing their goods, they're going to be doing that type of thing. There will be sessions. It's free. Let me tell you, if you never had a chance to go before, this is your time to do it. It's free.
Wow. Wow. I like first thing after this live stream, going to the website,
Register.
I'm registering, and I'm gonna clear every day that's on there because I know even going for an hour online, I'm gonna get some great value out of
Oh my
that.
goodness. It's I really have been wanting to do a Mediascope meetup at NAB because it's just so important for people who are into media and entertainment and tech. It's a great place to go. So, but this brings it to you
Free
free.
for free. Okay, share with our audience why is the NAB show so important and can be such a game changer?
Because it is the largest show of media technology and everything entertainment and media and tech in the world.
Why don't we just say it's Mediascope on
Basically,
steroids?
basically, it is there are about, as I said, there are close to 100,000 people that attend every year. And yeah,
Wow.
all there's something for everyone, something for everyone. And I go every year because I'm also part of the BEA, which is the Broadcast Education Association, and so we're kind of in a way the educational wing of NAB. And so because of that, those of us that teach media, teach media technology, we do that and we present papers at BEA. But as part of paying for BEA, you get entrance into the NAB show. So what happens is, even though I may be presenting or something at
That's huge.
BEA, I also register as press for NAB, so I get to go to everything for free.
No, that just that one thing you shared with me, that's going to be a game changer for me. No, I am so excited to hear that. Like everyone who's watching this live or the replay, if you are in any sort of media, whether you're a consumer or a creator, go there.
Yes. You really
Go
should.
there.
And again, nabshow.com. Register. It is free. There is so much value to be gained out of it. And again, you don't have to be at every single thing. They give you a schedule. Pick the things that you will really apply to you or that you're really
Wow.
interested in, and don't go to the other
Wow.
things. And it's all virtual.
Interesting. Luke says even Essence Fest is canceled. I was in NOLA during it once. I was an extreme minority.
Yeah, no, I mean,
You got. I love Luke.
Luke is
I love Luke.
awesome. The Essence
I
Festival
love.
is an amazing festival. And I have not been yet because I said I want to go, but I want to go when I'm a speaker. I'm not paying for those things. I want to go when I am
You,
asked to speak.
you know, just thought I'm really happy again. We started off our conversation with a great yes success story of you and Curtis, and I have a feeling there's a next thing coming with that for you too. I don't know what it
Okay.
is, but I definitely feel there's a next one shoe is dropped, but there's got to be another shoe on that. And it's funny. I'm blessed to run with you digitally, so to
Yeah.
speak. And it's interesting. There are a few of us that are having success during this period of time. Like for me,
That's another
I
conversation.
think I shared with you. Yeah, I shared with you a few weeks ago. I hosted and produced my first online comedy show.
No, wait a minute. Did you? You didn't share that.
Yeah, and another one's coming up on Friday. I'll send you the link, and it's all
Please,
female, all black female comedians.
please do share this.
And actually, and here's the funny thing, and this is, I think, and everyone watching this, whatever level you're a media creator, consumer, especially if you're a creator, especially this, you're never going to get another time like this, probably in your lifetime.
Take advantage.
And I'm going to encourage you, if you're a creator, reach out to 25 people that you've either wanted to reach out to or haven't reached out to for in a long time. I bet my odds that you'll probably get a hold of at least five of them, five to
Where are they
six of them.
going? Where are they going?
Exactly.
This is the only time you have a
Exactly.
captive audience. So you know what? Shoot for the stars when it comes to interviews and things like that. So, the people that you've been wanting to interview, they probably are. Guess what? They've got to stay on the tongues of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. This comedy show, some very good friends of mine. I've known them for about 15 years. When this thing started, the husband, he's one of the heads of a social service agency. He knew I was doing digital stuff, so he has me on hosting a number of online conversations for the organization. Would led me getting paid to do it for some other
Mm.
organizations. But then I knew his wife said, "Oh, my husband told me you do stuff." And they go, "Yeah, well, I do comedy." I go, "What?" And she said, "Well, we were supposed to have a comedy show booked for a restaurant, but obviously because of this, we're not doing anymore. We're thinking about taking it online. Okay. And we want to have you help us out with it." Okay.
Wow.
So basically, so they did the first one, was a really great success. The second one's coming up this Friday, which is I believe the 15th. And the funny thing is, she called me. They say, "I'm still looking for some black comedians." I go, I'm thinking through my community, I go, "Oh, Danny Redwine,
Huh.
who's on Get Vocal a lot, and she's a really great comedian. Great story." And I'm gonna plug. I'm actually gonna be posting the conversation I had with her last week. 7 years ago, she had breast
Oh,
cancer and had a mastectomy and is still going through procedures to this
wow.
day. Luke was on for that conversation. Her story is like a mini
Wow.
series. Like, I mean, a mini series. And even another part of it was that she grew up, she lives in Grand Rapids, Michigan, born there. Her parents grew up with her in Grand Rapids when she was really young. Her husband, or not husband, her father was an entertainer, left to Los Angeles to go make his ways there. He got killed in a motorcycle
Uh-oh.
accident. And Danny said, I asked Danny, what memories do you have of your father? She said, "The only memory I have of my father is seeing him in a
Oh
casket."
gosh.
I went, wow.
Huh.
Wow. But, you know, so I took that opportunity and help other people get opportunities.
That's amazing.
So as I say, as you're a content creator, always look to help people, to serve people. You'll get benefit out of it. But yeah, I never thought I'd be co-hosting and co-producing comedy online.
You see how wonderful this all is. I think it's this. It's been for many of us. Well, more you've been doing this for years and years, obviously. But in terms of the live stream space, for many of us, we kind of started solidly about 5 years ago, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's been a crawl, but it's been great to see how the space has
Enjoy the
developed.
journey.
Oh,
Enjoy the
yes,
journey. Enjoy the
absolutely.
journey. Like, so all these people who are coming on now, I'm going to make a suggestion. If you're having difficulties, check out people like Dr. Tachi. We have evaluated experience.
Absolutely.
As I tell people, we can help you shortcut the shortcut.
Absolutely.
So that's, you know, but you know something? Don't be surprised. Well, you're going to have to pay for our time. Sorry, I'm going to be straight up. I'm sorry. I'm going to be
Tell the
straight up.
truth.
I'm going to,
You're only
because
saying what
I
God
know that,
loves.
well, not only that, but if I wanted their expertise, I'd probably have to end up paying somewhere.
Well, and that's the interesting thing about all of this. I think people think that this type of knowledge for some reason is supposed to be free, and that you are supposed to willingly give them advice. So you'll get the slick little calls like, oh, well, how do I know which? That's a consultation. So if you want to talk about setting up something, I'll gladly help you, but there's a fee associated. But and my thing is like, all right, would you that's like calling up somebody and trying to get legal advice for free. No, you have to pay them to get those types of things. So I don't understand why people, would you do what you're doing for free? Would you work for free? No, you get paid. So why do you think it's okay to take what I consider work and not pay or try to get it for free?
Like, but I will say there are some things I will do complimentary. Some still.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But not everything. No. Sorry,
no,
not everything.
No, because then you won't eat.
Not everything. So content creators, you got to start from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I just encourage you, just start. And I said, right now, best time for you to start. The challenge is when things take the next turn, are you still going to want to do it? Don't rely on your press clippings.
No.
Don't rely on, unless you're an Erica Badu or Jill Scott, your numbers are nice. But the question is, someone told me the other day, they go on the 3% philosophy. So if you have 3% of your followers that are solid, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. And I know Dr. Tachi has that on Mediascope. She has a very solid community there.
Look, they come every week. I love them. The only reason I know what day it is because I know Mediascope is Wednesday. Especially now in this pandemic age. I don't know what the hell today is. Well, wait, 2 days before Mediascope, it's Monday, right? So I look forward to spending time with the audience. It just really makes my Wednesday.
Oh my gosh. So as we're gonna probably start winding down because you got to get rest and I've got to edit about 5 conversations over the next day. What do you think we're going to see? We're at May 11th. Interesting. What do you think the media landscape is going to be on September 11th? And I pull that day out because that's a very important day in American history. What do you think? What do you see the media landscape on September the 11th being?
I think that the media that's going to depend on what happens with the pandemic, to be honest. You hear these little twitterings of a resurgence somewhere around fall. Yep. Because that's the time that you would have, start to see flus and things creep up anyway. So you're hearing about that. And if that's something that's going to happen and projected to happen, and if we see stations preparing for that, I think we're going to see a savvier and more sophisticated digital media presence. I hope to God they figure it out by then, because what they're doing now, to be honest, is a little lackluster. They could do better. They could do much better. There are those of us that are doing better with less. So you have these resources, they can make it work. So I'm hoping that they're going to have a more robust digital media presence, figure this thing out, figure out how to make this a normal part of what they do.
Do you think what will the gentrification process be like, you think, in September?
Whew. That's a really good question. I think, again, depending on what the pandemic is doing, if we see a resurgence, I think the gentrification, what will happen is all these people will move back out to the suburbs. But then when this happens again, they're going to all try and repopulate these hip, cool spaces again. I say to that, in terms of that's linear media, but in terms of us as content creators that work with in and with digital media, we need to be prepared for that as well. We need to be building our content, shifting our content if it needs to be shifted. One thing I think is this exposed is that people were also looking for all types of content, but if your content feels a little bit stale to you, maybe it's time for a refresh.
Mm.
And guess what? Your Real Tribe will let you know what they'd like to see as well. So put that out there to them. See what you can add. Does that mean adding new segments? Does that mean doing additional live streams that are, totally, kind of related to what you do, but are different?
It's interesting you mentioned that because, well, first of all, shout out to Ryan from Hustle Zone TV. He's
Hey,
back in
Ryan.
and he's saying, that's right, Tachi. Uh, I did something, well, yesterday was Mother's Day. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes.
And it was also my dad's birthday.
Oh,
So what I, so I had pictures of both of them and Tachi gave me, Ryan saying Tachi gave me some of the best advice and the reason why I'm still doing what I'm doing.
oh, I'm
Hello,
glad. I'm glad.
hello, hello. Uh, and there's Colin
Hey,
Joel.
Colin.
All Colin is a procrastinated live streamer. We're trying to get him to get going. We're trying to make it happen. But getting back to my parents, so I just posted something on Instagram yesterday with pictures of them individually and together. And I just said, happy Mother's Day to my mother, happy birthday to my dad. They are always with me through thick and thin. Can you believe it's probably one of the most responded Instagram posts I've ever
Wow.
had? So I said to myself, okay, so what I'm going to do periodically is have posts of me and my folks.
See, exactly, exactly. It's responding to what the audience likes
Listen
and
to
listening
your
to your
audience.
audience.
Listen to your
That
audience.
doesn't mean
Listen.
that you put to the side content that you feel is important that may not get as many likes, because again, people are going to, you could put all, fun things or whatever, and then when you put things that are critically important, you get like 2 likes, but that doesn't mean stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it just, I found it, I was very
Yeah.
humbled. I'm going, wow, like, because I'm not one usually to put posts of friends or families like that, but I said, wow. And like Ryan's going, whoa. So someone like Ryan who knows his social media, what's the word, stats. He's like one of the masters of statistical analysis of a
That's
social
awesome.
media, and definitely go check out his channel, Hustle
Yes.
Zone. Like both of us remember Ryan when,
Yeah.
and Ryan
Yeah.
now. It's like he's a master of the analytics of social media. I think here's another thing I want to ask you. Give me a percentage, rough percentage. What percentage of live streamers that have started their streaming now, okay, so say coronavirus is finished
Mhm.
by September. What percentage of new content creators you think will still be doing it?
That's a good question. I think it depends on what they do outside of this. So we already talked about the fact that those people that are entertainment industry and celebrities, this is something that they have to do. So some people, some of them will stick with it. Some of them are going to abandon because Hollywood will open back up and they're like, got to go to work, and they'll abandon it or won't be as on as much. For regular people who, lay people who join these platforms and are doing things, it depends on what they have to do as well. So they may have to go back into work and won't have as much time to do all of these things. So
Time.
I think
Yes.
there's going to be some drop off, and what's going to remain are the people, or who's going to remain are the people that are dedicated to creating good content for their audiences.
Wonderful. I would say again, people pay attention. Just getting back to, yeah. See, Ryan is saying, and Ryan would know better than us. I'm also seeing a downswing in the numbers. I'm beginning to see that too. That the people I saw 2 or 3, like at the beginning, I'm not seeing them, or I'm seeing them less
Exactly.
now because the right reality has hit them. This takes work, right?
This is work. This is serious work. You will be sweating after all preparation and performance. It takes work. And I think people that, all you have to do is press play or press record. You press record. We prepare.
Again, that old, I like to call it the CNC principle. Are you doing it out of convenience? Are you doing it because you're committed?
Convenience or being committed. That's great.
Right? The Ryans, the Dr. Tachis, the Dr. Vibes, we're committed to it. We know there's going to be waves, right? We enjoy the journey. We're not looking at the end results. We enjoy the journey. We celebrate along the way. We don't wait for the big thing where Tachi gets this and Curtis gets something with a university. They celebrate every Wednesday. Really? You guys celebrate, right? You celebrate every Wednesday. So you have at least weekly celebrations. Those are the things I celebrate. You know, the conversation I had with Danny last week, believe it or not, it is one of the most, I'm going to say it's probably the, outside of stuff I've done with Canadian, not even Canadian government individuals, it's probably the most viewed, engaged live stream I've ever had on Facebook. Over 700 engagements.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty good.
Like I just went, wow. Like, and it's very rare that I have, I'll put it out there, a Black woman that gets so many positive responses from Black men and so serious questions. It was absolute. And there was one guy, John Haynes III. I haven't heard from John Haynes in 2.5, 3 years. He was on there asking question after question after question, praising her. So you know what Dr. Vibe is going to do. He has to make sure that he keeps Danny coming on periodically.
Absolutely.
Right? You look at this. Ryan saying media takeout is a good show. Not takeout. It's media scope.
Media takeout is another site. that's a
okay. All right. I don't know about that. All right. But and another thing, if you're serious about content creation, and I'm getting to this now, see if you can get a producer.
I look. I started, I've always done multiple platforms, even when, encoders were not supported. There was no open API on any of these platforms. So I just used 2 devices and looked back and forth. You remember, looked back and forth. Both.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there.
No, exactly.
I know it.
So because I realized the value of being on more than one platform at once, and I was not about to do everything I just said a second time. So that's why I really saw the value in doing that. But once Curtis came on board and added that extra oomph to it, it's like I see how much work I had to do by myself before and how much easier it is now to have somebody helping to run the show. It is.
I think, and it just came on signing up. One of the other reasons I'm not a big again, not knocking on Instagram Live, people. I hear you, but you can only stream on Instagram Live when you're on Instagram Live.
They don't have an open API. So it's only native, although there are a few apps that can stream to like Lula and Yellow Duck, but they're glitchy and they're not necessarily Instagram sanctioned. So don't be surprised if you're not able to use them after a while, but for now they're okay.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking to see the fall off is started already, which I understand. And for those people who have fell off, fully get it. But I think if you're serious, look for people who are doing it and have been doing it for a while. Get them to help you. Mm-hmm. Get them to help you, because if you enjoy it, but it's too much work for you, then you know it's time to contract it out or get someone to
Absolutely.
help you, because it it just, if you're really enjoying it, you got to keep on doing it, because you're I know you're missing it if you've been doing it and you've
Absolutely.
stopped.
Yes.
Dr. Tachi, any last words?
This has been fantastic. I'm glad. Yeah, this
Always.
was interesting. I'm glad I got a chance to come and, talk a little bit about media and what's happening in the landscape. Thank you for asking such great questions and such thought-provoking questions. I'm excited to see what happens on the media landscape. I don't know about
Mhm.
after, because is there really going to be an after? But in the coming weeks and months and years, how media changes and adapts to the fact that we like being home, we want to be interacted with, and we're
Yeah,
not so quick to go out in crowds and do things anymore. So I want to see how media reacts to that.
I think my I would add on to Dr. Tachi, if you're a content creator,
Now
now
is
is the
your
time.
time.
Now is the time. I don't want to hear people saying 6 months from now, oh, well, I wish I would have done this during this time. I said, well, what were you doing
What
with
happened
this
during the
time?
quarantine?
Like,
So remember,
yeah,
what my other saying is, right? On the other side of this, you better come out more better, smarter,
yes,
sharper,
yes, yes,
media
yes,
add to anything,
yes.
and that's what you better be. There's no excuse.
Oh, look, just a hidden thing, folks. I'm actually taking a course right now on how to be an
See
online
this?
facilitator. Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm gonna somehow, and then I realize that one of the things I have, it's been crazy, but one of the great things I've learned about this course is I had no idea what Google Classroom was.
Ah,
And I went, wow. Wow. So media wise is indirectly, I can take some of the things and now incorporate online media and maybe do present. Coach Dave, how you doing,
Coach
Coach
Dave.
Dave? I'm thinking about in the near future maybe offering a course on how to start a successful podcast, and I can do it online, and can do it in conjunction with Google Classroom, which is I was blown away. I said, where have I been? Like, I open up the Google Suite all the time, and I don't look really at anything other than Gmail and
And Drive.
Calendar and docs and images. And then I see Google Classroom, and it's amazing.
It is. There's so many tools. I have. I don't want to. Like you said, I don't hear from anybody who has not improved their lot in life after this. There is no, and that doesn't mean money all the time necessarily. That means in terms of
No,
knowledge, in terms of knowing,
yes,
epistemology, ontology, and
yes,
axiology. You're knowing, your being. Okay, knowledge.
yeah. And it's not, and the thing is, knowledge is great, but you got to
Back it
back it
with
with
action.
action,
Absolutely, absolutely. But at the very least, learn
right?
something. Damn
I
it.
want, yeah, I want you to back it with action, and experience is good, but evaluated experience with action is
Exactly.
even better.
Exactly.
Where can they catch Mediascope? I don't
You
have to do
don't.
it this
I've
time.
become wise to the ways of Dr. Vibe. You can watch Mediascope every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Periscope, Facebook Live, WJMSradio.com. You can listen, and also on LinkedIn Live. On Thursdays, well, we'll start back up again soon. On Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, you can watch, and we're live with me and MC Curtis. We talk about using video and live streaming for your business and beyond, all kinds of
It's
really great.
amazing, amazing content. Like, believe it, when I was back in the office, I got to be transparent. I was watching it while I was
Wow.
in the office.
Wow. I mean, but we take our time to put stuff out there because we want people to win in terms of this. These tools are here. Why not do? And if you're going to do it right. So that's why we do, and we're live.
Let me ask you something. Is there any thought between you and Curtis of maybe offering it as a course?
We shall see. Stay tuned.
No,
Stay tuned.
I'm not. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying, because I think what you both you are doing with that, fabulous. I mean, fabulous. And if it launches, I know it's going to be a success. I know people that would like. I'm a member of, well, Ryan left, but I'm a member of the Black Canadian Black
Oh,
Content
okay,
Creator, online
okay.
content creators. I would certainly share that information with them, because that I'm sure there's some people who are taking that would who are in that group that would certainly benefit from
Oh,
that.
yeah. Well, stay tuned.
Okay, thank you. All
Oh,
right.
I'm
So
sorry.
it's Dr. Vibe here, host and
Can I say
producer
one
of
more thing? Kevin will lambast me.
The Mic Is Yours. Yes,
Kevin
Kevin
will
will get
lambast
upset.
me. So I'm also one half of the TV Twins on the podcast TV Channeling. We talk about TV reviews and TV film and entertainment news. We have guests. It is so much fun. Every single major podcasting platform. You could also go to tvchanneling.com and listen to episodes that way. And you can listen live on Tuesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on wjmsradio.com. Sorry.
No, this is your house too, man. No worries, no worries. That is fantastic. I'm Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, 2018 Innovation Award winner in the given out, sorry, by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, co-host, not co. Well, now I'm hosting it. Host and producer, co-producer of monthly online. Coach Dave, I'm a major fan of Dr. Tachi. You know. And also, yeah, so those online conversations for fathers are co-sponsored by Dad Central, which is Canada's national fatherhood organization, and Dove Men Care. So I'm very blessed to be on there every month, once hosting, like the last conversation we had was about how dads can raise resilient kids. The first one was about dads overcoming coronavirus with their kids. And then next month, we're talking about paternity
Interesting.
leave. Yes. So, like to thank Kinte, Luke, who else did we? Ryan, of course, Colin, who stopped by, Coach Dave for jumping in at the end. Major fan of Dr. Tachi, joined the line. We also have Sophia from Ottawa who jumped in. Yolanda Lattimore jumped in. Hey, Yolanda, hope you're doing fine. We also, gosh, who else did we have here? Yolanda Lattimore. I'm calling out right now. I want to get you on the Dr.
She
Vibe
needs to
show.
be. She's amazing. She's got a bunch of them.
Yes.
And just added soap making
Yes.
to her repertoire. I mean, and she's been doing live streams about that.
Yes. So Yolanda, if you are interested and available, I'm asking you from now. I would love to have you on the Dr. Vibe show, because you would be a great conversation on how to build engagement online. Actually, right now would be a good time to have you on to help people who want going, well, I do 2 or 3 of these things. How come my audience isn't bigger?
Dr. Vibe, don't say that. You know I have no tolerance for nonsense.
I wanted to see how much of a screw face you'd give me. But no, Yolanda, if you are interested in, and in fact, not only just say that, but anytime, I really, because the variety of stuff that content you provided, from your cooking stuff, you've done, you need to be spotlighted if you want to be, because I want to shine the light on you, because again, you have the evaluated experience, and you know what? You've got proven results. Proven results. So had to put that out there. So the way I end my conversations, first of all, if you want to find out more about Dr. Vibe or the Dr. Vibe show, go to my website, thedrvibeshow.com. I'd like to thank everyone who watched or listened to this live or watched on the replay. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. Then let's close it up. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and then aim bigger, aim bigger, aim wider, aim higher, aim stronger. I always change it up, but those are the 4 things. God bless, peace and well, keep the faith, walk good, stay safe. And there's an old song by a group I love called Take 6,
Mm.
spread love.
Mm.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for your time.